Bravo, welcome. So, people often feel like time is something that's promised. And I think I'm not saying everyone needs to reconsider that. I am going to create the expectation that going forward, those affiliated with me respect that time is not promised to no one. I'm not asking the world to convert, but I am requesting that those around me operate under pretense that time is not promised to no one. So, Pashi, when you send a series of events, and it's always something, when you're American in the United States, it's always something followed by something followed by something. Because you're battling for everything you stand for is a threat to something that they want to continue. And you didn't mean for it to be that way. You just want to be true. You just want to be real. But being true and being real unfortunately it's a threat to the modern status quo, the modern economy, the modern society, hierarchy controls, etc., etc., etc. So I've been dealing with things for much longer than people have now been recently coming to the surface saying blah, 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 blah. So it just becomes a part of life. For some people, it's incredible, but for people like me, it's just another day. Now, when I send communications, when I send comms, I'm a Virgo, first of all. You got to know yourself first, know thyself. So I've taken the time to study myself well in advance of 2024. And I get that I'm omnipresent. So I have this habit of like an instantaneous, not gratification, but instantaneous. I guess you could call it the gratification of the instantaneous. I'm just saying it doesn't have to be gratifying because everything in life isn't happy vibes. Everything in life doesn't necessarily bring you joy right away. I like to know. And I get that a lot of people are comfortable with believing, you know? They believe their car going to start tomorrow. They believe the job will be there for them tomorrow. They believe that their mother loves them and it wasn't just a one night stand and they were an accident. They have these beliefs that they operate on. And that's why they don't like people like us. Because the truth crush their reality. But when I send comms, I appreciate comms to be returned in a timely fashion. And it's not the sense of entitlement or demanding or arrogance. To be totally honest with you, I'll tell you what it is. It's the comprehension of wanting to have a healthy existence. What do you mean, Pasha? What I mean is that more people need to accept when we don't know what we don't know. Like, you can go on my Facebook page right now. I've been noticing things with my phone for a while now. Technical things, little hiccups here and there. You don't know if it's a glitch. You don't know what it is. And then lately there's been some other things that makes it seem like it might be more. But when I go back and look at the stream of things, I can say, okay, this could potentially have been going on for this period of time, which could be substantial. But what I brought that up for is to say, in that analysis, I have to accept that there's things that I don't know what I don't know. Right? You have to operate like that. With that truth that there are things that you don't know what you don't know. So people need to understand that they don't know what they don't know. But then the other element is the hardest part of having any wisdom is constantly remaining disciplined to the knowledge. See, I know there's a lot of great people out there, and they excel in certain arenas. But I like to remain disciplined across the board. So what that does for me in some spaces is it appears to hold me back, right? It might appear to be a limiting factor for me. However, I'm okay with that because I only want to operate on known truth, not belief. So I would rather take my time to know than to believe. So Pasha, sometimes you appear to stress people out with your communications because you're so, and people want to take their time and feel like tomorrow's promised, and that's not how life works, at least not where I'm from. I mean, we all know where I'm at today, but where I'm from didn't work like that. I don't know about where you're from. So when I send comms, those that don't understand what a toxic workplace is described as don't understand certain details. Like it states here, for example, when I first looked this up years ago, which is why some people might be like, "Oh, Pasha's weird acting. His relationship, he don't fuck with you like this, and he don't. If you do this, he'll cut you off because you did you ask why? Some of you did you listen? A percentage of you that did ask. Did you comprehend? Very few. And did you implement yourself? Who knows? But the reality is, once you learn something, it's hard to unlearn it, at least for me. And I'm not talking about once you start believing something. I'm not talking about once people come and tell you the lies and you just accept them as truth and go through your life. No, I'm talking about once you know something. Again, the hardest part of having any wisdom is constantly remaining disciplined to the knowledge. So Pasha, why you be seeming so aggressive on your comms, on your text messages, and if you call someone, you seem real demanding and real pressuring sometimes about wanting a response, a reply? Well, it's because 9 times out of 10, you can't tell me that you didn't see it within a reasonable period of time. And I'm not saying you got to hit me back in the next 5 seconds. I get irritated when like a day goes by. I get irritated when a day goes by. Because like tomorrow's not promised. Like there's people that went outside today to go to the store that thought they would be right back. They're not coming back. Like, but y'all don't think, a lot of people don't think like that. You're too comfortable. So a toxic workplace, a toxic work environment. And this is just one, because when I looked up this years ago, it's a list, and like 80% of the list of things they presented made me feel like, and if you guys felt like this, drop it in the chat. Let me know your thoughts, right? Share with the group so that they can know they're not the only ones that been through this stuff. But it was a list of things that made me feel like 80% of the list I thought was what you have to deal with just having a job, period. Like going to work, I thought 80% of the list was just like what you deal with going to work. One thing on that I always use when I break the ice to people about what toxic workplace is and how it affects humanity, which is why you see me fighting so hard for this in this arena. And that really was what was the underpinning of the discrimination case I was bringing against Securitas Electronic Security. No, I'm not a security guard. I wasn't a security guard. I was in electronic security. It's technology. And I was running project management for Tennessee, DC, Virginia, North and South Carolina. I tend not to talk about certain things while I'm there, like any other gangster mentality or whatever is taught. You kind of don't really be concerned with sharing certain things until you're going. You don't share your location until you're going from the location, right? Most people didn't know I was working at 3M for 8 years until I was done there. It's just how I am. So the reason I was excited about being at Securitas, I know I'm deviating from the conversation a little bit, was because I want to one day own my own city. Not to say own it, technically yes, but definitely start it, right? So that people like you, me, us, we can all have a place to come together, like basically almost the equivalent of starting the new Atlantis, right? And what would that look like? If you look at my resume, which I post publicly, you can see it's kind of like a nice chronological order: customer service, banking, credit cards, manufacturing, production, and then security. See, because I didn't just pick the name Pasha. The name Pasha picked me. And that's high-ranking general and political figure. So I'm not going to be the one standing in front of the people talking about shit that I don't know about. Okay? So when we build this, and I stand before you and those who stand with me, when we do this collectively, you're going to be able to know I have decades of experience in putting together the tangents so a lot of people actually want to keep their stuff off the internet. Well, when you reach a position like me and people like me, you stop worrying about that. Like when you win your own court cases, like there used to be a time in my life where I was like, oh, I'm worried about, don't talk about this, don't talk about that in public or whatever, because the government would. But I mean, you get to a certain point when you start winning your own court cases and this, that, and the other. I mean, you just got to accept for value that they already know who you are. You're pretty much probably being watched often now. There is no more, let's not do this because they might find out they know everything already. So you just kind of lose that fear. And when I lost that fear 15, 20 years ago, it really changed me. I guess I never had the fear 15 or 20 years ago when I first was starting to do this stuff, like in my early 20s. I was always like this in life, but when you learn how to move a certain way, it just empowers you. My first court cases were like 10 years ago. So that changes you. That changes you when you do your own court case on certain stuff. And I'm not saying I had anything super like murder trials or something that I was defending myself on. Although, I mean, I don't want the practice and exercise, but going through the process on these other levels, I kind of feel like I'm capable of doing anything I needed to do, which was why I was such a risk with first impressions for the discrimination case I was bringing against Securitas, because it would have been a first impression on a national level, and it would have really changed the dynamics between employers and employees' relationships based on the definition of toxic workplace. And that was a severe threat to the current state of society and economy, basically. And then you're put in a position where you couldn't share it with you, because I was in the process of, which created a great vulnerability, because I'm used to being alone. But that probably contributed to why it was unsuccessful, due to resources, basically. At a certain point, once they strategically bankrupted me, you know what I mean? Which was brilliant on their part. I'm not even mad. I mean, we're all in a game of life here, so it was a great exercise. I would rather experience that on this level and then be prepared in the board of directors room for making decisions that are going to be determining if our city wins bids of billions of dollars. And at the same time, I have to look at it like I was trying to do something for the people that people didn't even support me in doing for them. And if there was a collective support for me to do this, knowing the strength I had to pull it off, we could have literally changed what you call the United States of America. Like, could be happening right now. It could be totally different. What do I mean by that? Okay, so toxic environment, right? They give you the one example, and there's many places you could look it up. I think this is from Missouri. It was just something I Googled real quick, but it gives they all got the same explanation for this one in particular. So you can Google wherever you want to Google. But it says, for instance, being left off team emails or spoken down to da 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 da. But right here, withholding resources or information is another way employees are made to suffer. Without the right support, it becomes difficult to do your jobs correctly, and your performance is affected by it, basically. So this is describing the relationship of the sharing of information, let's call it comms, at the workplace. And they're telling you that it creates a toxic environment. Now, what happens when toxic workplace, you have to be around it too long? Well, it creates the same symptoms as post-traumatic stress disorder. When your cortisol levels are maintained at an increase for extended periods of time, which is different for everybody, entire systems in the body shut down. The AADAA or ADAA, whatever for almost a decade and a half, if not 2 decades now, 20 years, quietly approving disability cases for workplace-related post-traumatic stress disorder. Like, I've done all this research. I did videos on the Y97 like maybe 5 years ago. I don't know. But when you share with people so that you can improve the community and the quality of life, it takes a little while for them to catch on. I'll just describe it like that. So what they've admitted is that when you see those annual report numbers of X million people die from heart attack each year, this million people die from diabetes each year, they've accepted that a portion of those people actually died from that disease or disorder simply because they worked in a toxic workplace for 10, 20, 30 years of their life. It really wasn't something that they were doing to themselves. It was their body's response to being in a toxic workplace for that long. So me knowing that and me being Pasha tells America we're going to need to have information flow. Because y'all might be sitting there thinking y'all cool and shit. Like, oh man, I sent this text message. It's been 20 minutes. They ain't hit me back. Psh, I ain't worried about that shit. Yes, you are. And now you doing little shit to try and distract you from the fact that they ain't hit you back. Because you trying not to feel some type of way about it. Because you fighting nature. And the nature that you're fighting is the fact that resources and or information is being withheld from you, and your psychological connection to the omnipresent of infinity is saying what the fuck and why, and shit's short-circuiting. But you want to play it cool like the frog in the boiling water and pretend that everything's all good, and then when you die, and the ADA people won't say this one died from work-related toxic. They're going to say you died from text message post-traumatic stress disorder. Because you were trying to be so cool. Pasha's not going to sit here and pretend that it's cool for you to hurt me. So when people be like, oh, he got rid of us. Well, ask them what the fuck they did. Okay? Because you have to admit that you don't know what you don't know. I have to admit I don't know what I don't know. So collectively, we need to admit that we don't know what we don't know. And I don't know why. It takes some people 2 days, 4 days. But I do know why they not in my contacts anymore. So if you're in a relationship with someone or you're dealing with projects, I'm just sharing why I may appear to be aggressive. You know what I mean? I may appear to be aggressive because I don't want to have increased cortisol levels trying to have a conversation. So think about that in your relationships. You know what I mean? Oh, what are you doing? You ain't text me back. Oh, no. Oh, that's okay. Don't worry. Is it really? Is it really? And or the person that's tripping in their own way, because you know we're all different. So the person that's tripping in their own way about, you know, I hit you and you ain't hit me back and and you're like, man, why you be trying to be chill and stuff? Well, now you gotta realize that you potentially probably are inflicting injury upon them. So if you knew you were injuring that party, would it still be, oh, let me play it cool? Or would you be like more considerate? See, because then when they show up and air up the whole workplace, they be talking about, we don't know why they came in here and shot up the place. And oh my God, it's on the news. Did you see that 25 people got shot at such and such job? And oh. Well, y'all respect the ones who got shot? Or do you respect the shooter? I got songs that's just telling you, look, I'm trying not to be the shooter because I have to look at many people like you just don't understand. And how unfortunate would it be for something so tragic to help you because you're still maturing. Remember, I'm the one that got sent to the mental hospital because you don't know the truth. I have to be so patient with the rest of the world because they are all on recess playing their games when we're supposed to be learning what we need to do to execute. And yeah, no, nobody's perfect. So I still have my faults, obviously, as I'm sitting here needing a new phone, probably. Okay. But that was very clever, whoever. Very tactful. I applaud it. It's going to make me better. And it's probably been a few years that it's been like that. Maybe a couple years. But like, you got to learn to use the power there's power in what's the word I'm looking for? Rumors. There's power in rumors. So like I said, like the worst thing you could do for those who move the way they move or however that might be for them, and they have their fears. But I think there's a lot of people out there that they feel like, oh, I don't have stuff online, my information is not online, I'm safe, I'm protected, and da-da-da. And that's the worst thing you can do. Because then you live your life under the assumption that you're safe and this and that and the other shouldn't happen to you, or you don't ever move like it could happen at any given moment. Kind of like why y'all still, many people feel like tomorrow is promised. And it's okay. We can take our time. You know, like when I get a call about a project from someone and she's like, oh yeah, I'll have it to you by this date, the information you need. And then the following week after that date, when I'm like, yeah, look, I'm canceling this opportunity because you didn't give the information. Like, I'm not going to chase you because now you're stressed. Now you're creating toxicity for me. I need the energy to actually do the project, not babysit. Because I do amazing projects. I do extraordinary work. It is an art for me to produce what I produce. And I refuse for the art to be tainted because of someone who don't appreciate its value. You go work with the other people for that. But the people that feel like, oh, you know, I don't put my phone number online. So what? It's 2024. When and if they want your phone number, they gonna find it. I mean, I used to do collections in 2010. You'd be amazed how I found people. That's what I'm saying. Like, people that don't know, they don't know. So I never, after that experience, felt like you were safe. No, and I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about someone else. I understand them because they communicate with me, and then we talk and they let me know. And then it's just, we are just coming together. So in the beginning, you have to take the time to learn about each other, who each other is, grow together. But for somebody that might know me for years now, there's no excuse. So don't make assumptions. But yeah, I mean, when you move and you feel like, oh, you're moving and nobody's gonna know. No, I'm the one that invite the people that don't like me over. Like, hey, come on over here. I know you don't look. Why would you do that? Oh, because now I've made it the reality in my mind that I know they know where I'm at. Because I don't want to walk through life with the illusion of, hey, nobody knows where I'm at. That's the difference between me being real and the way I see a fake person. A fake person is going to want to, like, the neighbor don't know somebody that's their neighbor that's going to connect you 2 months later and say, well, so-and-so just moved into the neighborhood. He over here now, and then now you walking around pretending like people don't know where you at because you don't realize people talk. The streets always watching. You living in a fantasy. Now you got because you thought you couldn't get got. Man, you got to know you can always get got. Ain't nothing. So don't be afraid to put yourself in the best position to achieve something because you want to feel like, oh, I'm safe because my information isn't online, my phone number isn't online. And really, I'm really thinking this was probably a year or two effort. But I can't, I've been having so much, I can't precisely pinpoint it. But it's very interesting. I'm very grateful that it occurred the way it did. And I appreciate the person that brought it to my attention very much, because the way it was brought to my attention, which I can't even say that that's true either. I mean, technically they could have said you called me and went and swapped the name information on a phone thing, and when I asked for the screenshot, they could have sent me that, and I'm looking at that like, I ain't called you. So I just don't know what I don't know. But what I do know is we're going to reestablish a baseline, a new baseline. And what I want to say at this point, at the 33-minute mark, 33, is for the people that rock with me, even 15%, I need you to go on your friends list. You know the type of shit that I'm on. You know what I'm trying to do. You know what I talk about. You know what I talk about and what I stand for that even make you sick. And that's okay. Even if you don't rock with me and you're like, I can't stand that motherfucker. But you got boy over here that you kind of like this about, so you hang with them, but then you got the stuff that we're similar at that you don't like, but you like, maybe, I don't know, maybe buy you Chick-fil-A every day. Connect me with them. Share my page with them. Because I'm like I said, I've learned that I never asked y'all for help, because to me, the wrong people around you is always a liability. And I would rather, again, know that I have limited capabilities on a daily basis because I'm alone than to feel empowered to do exponential work to find out that you don't have that ability. However, I'm not really the one that's protesting unity, because what is unity? What is UNITY? What is it? People that look like me coming together? What is it? People that sound like me coming together? What is it? People that like orange juice coming together? for a festival. What is unity? See, none of that shit means nothing unless you're unified on where you're trying to get to. And having an agreement on a destination isn't really how I would describe unity. That's collaboration, right? Now, unity, it says, is when all people in a circle are focused on the same destination. But the unity isn't what it takes to get you there. Hence why 50 years later, we still, most of us, in the same spot as a nation as 1950. You just may think you're more privileged because you don't know what you don't know. Right? Because they use the word unity when they want to say it can lead to stronger relationships and teamwork. And boom, there it goes, collaboration, ultimately resulting in a greater success. But I wouldn't use the word unity because it's too much ambiguity there. What we need is collaboration on the shared goal, which is the destination. And then that allows us to give support and encouragement when everyone in the circle has that circle of safety feeling. I created this for my teams that I led in corporate America when they said it couldn't be done. I installed it. I established it. I know it can work. I know the before and after. So, hold on. This just sounds a little loud with that bell or whatever it is. So, I know the before and after because I've installed it in other places. Efficient resource allocation. Now I'm thinking about like, okay, I need a new phone. I just did the video, told you producers don't like to spend money. We're not concerned about spending money unless it's on what we're producing, which means a lot of us aren't, until you blow up with something, you aren't really the richest people in your circle, probably because you have the least concern about having money, because you realize, especially nowadays, you don't need a lot to do what you're trying to do, because a lot of what it takes is the intangible. It's up here. It's your creativity. Excuse me. And then you get your components and you put it together and you do what you do. The new gold mine, as I've stated here on the channel for a while, is that intellectual property is the new liquid gold. This is why real estate is laughable. Despite the fact that people are getting into it now, it's really humorous, because tomorrow you don't decide what it's worth. And someone could tell you why it's all of a sudden worth nothing. Intellectual property is going to have is the value, not physical property. So when we actually come together in resource allocation, it empowers the producers if they could tap into the resources of the community. See, this is often accomplished when hate's involved. Very easy. Like, look at the protests when the nation felt like they had something to hate against. And I know you're not thinking about it as being hateful, but the energy of anger, rage, fight against, You can come together easy then. It's easy, right? Like when the whole world jumped on Kanye to cancel him or anybody else that they canceled. It's very easy for you to get rally of support when it comes to canceling something. Stomping out like this, right? However, where the fuck is that same energy when you're trying to build something? I shouldn't have to articulate it as, let's stomp out the United States. I should be able to say, let's build America. Because technically, we don't need to stomp out the United States. We just need to stop having our people show up and paying the cover fee to get in. Because we built their own club. And then that unity isn't going to mean that everybody looks alike, necessarily think alike. Whatever. What it's going to mean is that we agree on this destination to reestablish America's noble, excellent, and splendid versus being subjected to the humble campaign. So then when you need something, I should be able to put on the Facebook, I need 20 people to give me $10 so I can get a new phone. I'm not saying I need a new iPhone. I don't need $1,300 for a phone. I could probably get away with somewhere between $150 and $180. That's normally what I spend on a new phone. I just need to do what it need to do. I don't need it to be nothing fancy. I don't need to be nothing I'm worried about breaking. No. Don't call me the leader of nothing. I'm just true. I'm just you when you're honest. Oh yeah, ain't nobody giving you pussy. Ain't nobody giving you this, right? Go get a job like everybody. Okay. Mm-hmm. Because you feel like I didn't give you nothing. Because you don't know what I've been giving you because you haven't been paying attention. Maybe some people are tangible, right? They want a dollar. They don't realize that the physical dollar is a intangible belief. It's a worship. They're having a church. They're in a religion. I got a whole knowledge channel full of information I deliver to you guys for the last 5 years. When PBS used to send you and do their specials, their fundraising specials, your mother used to decide how much she was going to contribute to make sure your little shows would come on every week. When the school sent home the fundraiser, y'all out there selling Girl Scout cookies to get that money up. For some shit that you never even really know where the fuck it go. They just told you they was doing this for the school. Where it going to school? What it do? Now, when the pastor say, right, I ain't gotta say no more. No, I'm not a pastor. No, I'm not a preacher. But I got books and I got words. And some book that most of y'all like say that our people perish due to lack of knowledge, not lack of false idol worship on intangible dollar bills, belief of value when they have no real value. Now, in the last video, we discovered that there's $14 trillion on average circulating, represents 2/3 of the circulation of value. What I'm saying is, of the $14 trillion, you either got or you know somebody that got $10, 20 of you, to get me a new phone. Because when you're running a business or anything else in life, it's always better to tap into resources beyond your own. My greatest resource is not having a bunch of currency. I told you that. You guys know my situation. I'm transparent. I'm live. You watch me go through this. You see me sleep on the street. So what I'm good at, I've taken, how I want to say it, like we talked about in the last video, I'm skilled at manifesting the money for other people, really more so than myself. Because it's so much easier for me to deal with them because they're so comfortable with the conformity of society. Like they can just say, I want to do this. And I can say, okay, cool. Let me, boom, right? They don't have to worry about the being hated for having a beard, or you told someone the truth and they don't like you. Now they're out there turning, California against you. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't have to worry about that. I can just go in, I can make their business what it needs to do. They can tell me a budget, I can create it, and boom, voila. And then next thing you know, they're all conquering the world. And whether they tell you Pasha was behind it all or not, it's cool. I can go put $200 into a t-shirt operation and really not be offended if they never talk to me again. Because I didn't do it for them. I did it for the community that they represent. The community is probably talking shit about me right now because they don't know Pasha's investing in them because Pasha did it behind the scenes. I can send $700 back home to Delaware to help someone with their business. I can design a jacket and have them make it for me to help put them in position because I've reached a point of having enough attention on me that they can grow their brand just from me having them do my jacket and paying them to do it. And then teaching them what a bill of materials is and how to build the next customer properly and how to grow and be proper in their presentation. I did that for the community. But you don't know about that sort of stuff. You don't know about my daily basis. You don't know about my daily conversations. You just know what some lying ass motherfucker came around and told you behind the scenes that got you feeling like you shouldn't talk to me. That's okay. You still know somebody that got $10. And if you want more shit to hate on me about, then it will be in your best interest to make sure I get another phone so you can continue to hate, or else you're going to be mad. There's going to be a void. Okay? So it don't matter if you got the love, or you got the hate. Let me feed you both. I'm going to feed you both, baby. You're all going to eat. So then we have an amplified impact. All right. And a lot of people think strength in numbers. I don't really. Yes, the more numbers you got, the more problems you got. Right. Like that's the real message behind the quote, more money, more problems. It's the mo part. The mo brings the problems. The mo of whatever you got. The more cars you got, the more houses you got, the more chicks you got. Sometimes. But it brings more problems. But we could definitely benefit from inspiration and motivation and the collective learning and growth. Like there's no reason why I should be putting out a video and it has 30 views. Now, at the same time, I know that those 30 views are the right 30 people. And I appreciate it having 30 views, maybe versus it having 3,000 people that don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I would prefer 30 people that's locked in, that's serious, and is taking it hardcore and doing something with the information so that we can rock out. But at the same time, those 30 know 30 people each. Why isn't it 90 on the next one? See, I've been very quiet about this. I've been very quiet, but I've been watching other people and I see how they do it, and they're out there like, yo, put $25 in the chat, and I'm gonna shut the shit off. And I mean, it's like, damn, like, but I get it though, because this is life. My thing is, I always thought if I got the right people, I wouldn't have to say nothing because they would just know to do it. Like, I do it when I see people needed help. I just help them. They didn't have to ask. Like when you go on a t-shirt company that your people got and you see the operations is all fucked up, but they don't know it's fucked up because they don't know any better. I'm like, yo, man, look, I lead $1 million projects. Let me just help you out real quick. Take me 15 minutes. This is child's play. So you optimize a process for them, save them uptime, 40%. Now they can do 40% more volume. But where they at 5 years later when you need them? Too busy telling them why they don't want to be around you? Oh, because the business growing now. Like you help this other business. But that's the nature of what we do as producers. You produce and you distribute. The question is, what do you produce? And the reason I'm not offended by none of that, because there's many people that's done that, is because I'm producing sustainable communities. I'm not producing t-shirts. I'm not producing press-on nails. I'm not producing temporary haircuts when your hair grows. I'm not producing a lot of the shit that people are interested in for reasons that absolutely is bullshit at the end of the day. I'm producing something that's going to be life or death in a war of Earth. Right? So what I got to do sometimes is the right person for that position may not necessarily be the right person to keep around me to go where I'm doing in life 24/7, 365 for a decade. But that don't mean they're not the right person to do what I need them to do to make that part of the community sustainable. So the leadership that I am, I'm not transactional leadership. That's bullshit. That's old school. That's irrelevant. That's phasing out. The transformative leadership I am has to set aside the emotional. That's why I don't have the emotions. Because if I did, I wouldn't have helped y'all motherfuckers. Because I saw what y'all was gonna do before y'all did it. And I was just like Jesus with y'all. Y'all go and brag about what y'all did. I already knew what you was gonna do before you did it. It's actually part of the plan because I need to help build the separation so that any emotional attachment residue wouldn't grow and create a glue. So that we could go our separate ways and do what we had to do in the community. It had to be that way. I had to use the devil to entice you because you're devilish. That's what happens when you're omnipresent. So I put people in position. I'm Pasha. And one way or another, I'm gonna put America in position. Because I got blood that's gonna be here when I'm gone, whether they fuck with me or not. They may not even talk to me. And they don't even understand that part of the reason why I ain't there catering to their every need is because I'm out here changing the fucking world instead of being a little bitch talking about, well, at least I see you every day. So that they can grow up and talk shit about you anyway and not do nothing. You never asked them to train them or taught them to be. And then you be sitting there looking all stupid because they out there living the life they want to live because the world, you didn't change the world that you left them in. Because it was easier for you to feel like you could change the world in your household. See, that's the difference. There's levels to the shit, but you never took time to study. There's men and women. They do household shit. They run household. Men and women level. They barely controlling the home. They got a little law and order over the house. They feel superior. They got their little, they come home and they feel like, oh, am I king? Right? Then you actually have kings and queens. And people don't understand the word queen means prostitute. So this is Queen City, so it's prostitution city. They don't realize what they're saying though. King and queen controls kingdoms. And then you have God, little God, and goddesses. And we're responsible for the whole universe, the omnipresence. So I can put a motherfucker in your house and I can leave and be comfortable knowing that he the right one to be in that household. I can bring a chick in. I can rock with a chick, and then I don't do titles. You're not gonna marry me because I can't get married because it'll change my status. But guess what? Desperate L, he looking for a wife. Rock with me for a minute, and then go get you that lifetime security. It's like your retirement plan. When you put the work in with me, you can go retire. I hit you up every once in a while. So I'm not what everybody else is. I'm not sitting here to do what they doing. So when I ask you for $10, I need you to get me $10. Because it's going to be to the benefit of the nation that I have what I need to have when I need to have it. Because part of what I'm going to ask for is going to be for you to have certain things as well. And if you delay what I need to have to get you what you need to have, then you only delaying your own shit. I'm at the point in my life where I shouldn't have to go to an exercise of an experience when I'm trying to build in my community. So that don't mean the community is bad. It just means y'all need to connect me with the people who understand what the mission is. So this way, by the time we get to having the city and need to have missiles to defend it, we won't be sitting here trying to work y'all like slaves so that we can go afford a missile system. We'll already have it at play. Like I said, there's real estate is dead now. People just don't know it because they've been waiting so long, so many generations to get into it. They feel like they finally there, the promised land. We're buying homes, we're flipping homes. We made $20,000, which is what in reality? What is it? Some people's catering bill last night was $20,000 for food for a table of 10. Some people, $20,000 is a whole home that needs to be remodeled and fixed up, but they can live in it right now. Some people, it's just a set of rims. Some people, it's just a cell phone. Literally, a gold-plated, fancy, one-of-a-kind, bespoke cell phone. I don't need that. Let me see what else I got here for you. So we covered that. Yeah, we covered that. Yeah, because okay, so a lot of people be like, they don't want stuff online because they be trying to protect their little reputation and shit, right? Look, man, your reputation ain't shit anyway. And what I mean by that is people gonna believe what they want to believe about you. Regardless. It's people out here go to war talking about how great Michael Jordan was. It's people out here talking about how fucked up Michael Jordan was. It's people that support LeBron. It's people that hate LeBron. Biden, Trump, whatever. See, people are addicted to what they addicted to. You ain't got nothing to do with it. If they're addicted to hate and anger, they're going to find a reason to be hateful and angry about you, related to you, because that is their addiction. It had nothing to do with you. That's why you got to have people that agree on the destination. See, when the destination is the addiction, we can all work together to get there and overcome the obstacles. So yeah, you might think that Pasha is whatever you say I am. And I'll give you the Eminem on that one. Because chances are, from your perspective, you're absolutely right. The question is, do you know what the fuck you're talking about? Do you know what you're looking at? That's where it might not be so true. You may not know. You might just have an emotional attachment to a belief. But what I'm really proud of is with the most recent purge, which honestly the phone is the phone is like the last thing to be purged. Because what happens in my life, which a lot of people don't understand, I know some people are celebrating this and they're looking at it and they're saying, I'm glad, I'm glad that they might be glad or whatever they say, you know what I mean? And a lot of people are glad for good reasons. But in my life, the way my life works is every 10 years, almost like clockwork, I have a massive reset where it appears that I lose everything and I have to, what appears looking off on the outside is rebuild, right? But what's really happening is I come in to a level. I started at the bottom. Now we're here, right? So I started at the bottom of a level. And tell me how many of y'all can relate to this too. See, chat kind of quiet. We're gonna get the chat popping eventually because we're gonna start having the right people around. I got people that watch. The question is what you watching for. You know what I mean? Start making this collaborative effort, and then you won't feel like it's a dictatorship. Like, I know what I know, right? Let's invest in the conversation together mutually. So you climb up the level. And for me, I guess what a lot of people do is they be in the same level. Like they get more, but they get stuck in the same level. And they just have more and better of what they have, but they're still in the same level. And they don't realize that. And that's okay because it works for them. And it's what they want to do in life. For me, a Virgo, a perfectionist, we're addicted to the perfection. And right now, what's got me fucking hooked is the perfection of the omnipresence. It's my purpose because you can't live life and not understand the connections without being or accepting that you're being hypocritical, right? That's why you hear me saying, oh yeah, you can do whatever you think you're doing for your youth, your sons and daughters now, and then whatever you think you're investing. But if you don't change the world that you're leaving them in, we talked about producer and consumer yesterday or earlier today or whatever it was. All the time just bleeds together to me. I don't even know what day it is anymore. But when you're in that, if you don't change the world, it's going to consume them no matter what. No matter what. You got billionaires' kids that become drug addicts, alcoholics, incompetence, everything you probably think the hood belittles their kids for and you know chastise them about. You have the ultra wealthy with the same problem. Why? Because it doesn't matter who you are, how well you prep them. If you don't change the world itself, the world is going to consume them. And if we know the direction and the course the world is on, all these people up here talking about they know these energies and they're doing this and good vibrations and carrots and vegan this and that and the other, but you ain't changing the world. You ain't changing that you got to go to the toxic workplace. You ain't doing shit. I mean, I ain't gonna say you ain't doing shit. What I'm gonna say is what you're doing is gonna be trivial in the next generation. It's like the people buying up land right now. Okay, so you got 100 acres, and I like to go to sources and learn to test and see. Like I don't just be speaking emotionally. I show up, you got 100 acres, and I'm like, okay, this is what we need to do. Do you want me to come and put $10,000 into it, or do you want me to show you how the community can make $50 billion? Like, this is why I don't have patience for shit. Because you got people, they don't realize this is what they're saying, but they want me to follow their leadership of people who don't have the skills that I possess simply because this is their hierarchy. So if your hierarchy is willing to sacrifice the quality of life of its inhabitants and its community simply so that someone can say that they were in charge of this department, I'm probably in the wrong place. Because I'm Pasha. And I don't mean that offensively. Although some may be offended, I mean it by I am Pasha. What's your name mean? Because that's who you becoming if you not already are. I put 30 years into becoming this. And this is why I say if you want to have a title, if a title is more important to you, if the appearance of a title, so you can stand before people, I am the department head of this part of of the community, and da da da. And meanwhile, that shit's going fucking in the trash. This ain't for me. Because not saying you're not gonna do something that when you stand back and look, you're gonna be like, look at what we made. We got this going here. Look, we got carrots. Over here we got celery. It took 8 months for that to happen. We built this little greenhouse here. It's 4 feet by 4 feet. And this is not like bashing nobody. I'm really being seriously like, look at what we could be doing versus how our emotions get in the fucking way, and look at what we end up with. We got a 4 foot by 4 foot greenhouse with nothing growing in it yet. It took 12 weeks of little trips to do this. And guess what? You didn't even take the time to determine the map or zone out the land to know if that's where you even want that or not. So chances are you're gonna need to move it. So if it took you 12 weeks to build that, first of all, now you're gonna have wasted all that 12 weeks of effort because you're gonna have to tear it down and put it over there. But this is what our community does. And then they celebrate the shit and they feel like they need to get rid of Pasha because Pasha make them feel bad. But that's okay. They are the ones getting rid of Pasha because these over here are like, Pasha, we've been waiting for you. We know what we've been waiting for. We've been waiting for you. Look, we got this ready. We got this over here. We just don't know what the fuck to do with. They can tell you they don't know what they don't know. And then that's when I get to come in and be like, okay, this is what we need to do. Like that's the difference between the clients that say to you, can you do this for 150? And that's like, or the ones that say, okay, this is 3,000. I'm working up to getting to the people that's like, okay, this is 20 grand. Cool. I know that's what it's worth. I know it's worth 40. I gave you $40,000 worth of value. You just didn't appreciate it. So what they want to do is they want to say, oh, that hurts Pasha more than it hurts us. We'll just sit back and wait till he needs us for something, and then we'll do A, B, C, and D. Cool. Pasha used to not having shit anyway. I'm okay. The problem is I was trying to make more for you, and you didn't realize it. That's been my biggest problem in life. I could always go get what I want when I want to go get it. But every time I do that and I go and I get, in my mind, I'm realizing I had to leave the people I thought I cared about behind because they didn't want to go get it. But I went to go get it because I don't have the emotional attachment to belief. And then the family that tried to throw you in the mental hospital talks shit about you after they done that still, because then they say, well, you ain't call them in 10 years. For what? You tried to kill me. And then they go talk shit to you about, oh, Pasha don't talk to us. And, you tried to kill me. Basically, I mean, I know you looking at like, oh, we sent you to get mental. There was nothing wrong with me. You didn't know it. You didn't know that you were ignorant. And you sent me to the mental hospital to get tested. And what happens if they got me up in there and did their little experiments or something and I never came the fuck back? You put me at risk like that so that you could feel better about your own ignorance. And that's what society does. When you wonder why I got an issue with society. when your daughter's mother says she gonna be a United States citizen like her mother because she don't know what the fuck she talking about either. And you wonder why I got issue with society. It ain't because of what you did yesterday. Nah. I was sitting here to change America, and this stuff that happened to me is the fuel, the fire to make sure I remain motivated. That's what the Most High is doing with y'all. I talked to him. It's okay. I said the same thing I said to y'all. I said to all of them before I left. Because I tell people why I leave before I leave. See, I ain't the one like y'all. That's why when y'all up there talking about, oh, he's up here saying this and saying that, oh, he's a fucking loser and all this shit. Nah. I talk to people. I'm not scared like y'all. So y'all leave, wait till y'all go get behind the sheets and behind closed doors and around the corner in another state, and then y'all go talking shit. The shit y'all hear me say is shit that I already said to people directly. I go to source. The danger for y'all is what if Pasha could hear y'all from around the world thinking what y'all think? That's what y'all don't get. It's why y'all be sitting up here saying one thing, and I'll be just looking at y'all like. But I can't control it all the time like that, so I don't give myself no fancy title because I don't know. I'm still working on it. But it's a reason why I gotta stay away from a lot of people because they don't understand the powers. And then they don't understand the protection and protected by what and why. And then I gotta watch stuff happen to them because they thought they were doing something to me. So it's best that I just stay away because innocent people who aren't really innocent get hurt. But yeah, so that's really what it's about. I want you to think about that in the business, in your personal relationships. Withholding information, right, creates toxicity, and even to be the one withholding the information, you got to know that you're basically putting people's life in danger if it's you that's withholding the information. And then you got to ask yourself, what ramifications does one have for being the source of such pain to a society, a new society, a growing society? No, Pasha's not threatening nobody for nothing. Pasha's simply asking you to think about something that you haven't thought of before, because what happens is a lot of people are kids in big bodies and they run around playing games for their amusement. Like the song say, my life, your entertainment. They're running around playing games and they don't understand that life is not a game. And I need the people to start to consider that they don't know what they don't know. So, put it back on the screen for you real quick, and then we'll close and get up out of here. Withholding resources or information is another way employees are made to suffer. So if I'm talking to the community and I'm telling you this is what we could be, there's $14 trillion running around here and we could go get the majority of that if we stop fucking playing. And then you still want to be approaching me next year with turkey drive information or Juneteenth celebration. If we went and got the 14 trillion, I don't think anybody would need turkeys donated. See, y'all be worried about the wrong problem because you're too busy trying to be the one seen as the leader of the department that you don't realize is failing in its operations because you didn't realize the success that you celebrate is very limited and minute in the grand scheme of what it could be. But it's easier for you to blame me for you feeling like less than you want to feel versus simply accepting that we all could be collectively better together. So that's what society does. It enforced the humble policy. It alienates, outcast, demonizes its noble, excellent, and splendid. And thus, we either wind up working with the Illuminati or becoming Osama bin Laden, right? But those people will still be looking to blame the shooter because it's easier than to blame the ones who got shot. And no, for the one out there saying, say this to my face, motherfucker, this probably ain't even about you, but you're addicted to the drama. So you're latching onto that instead of seeing about the opportunity for the community growth. Because we can't grow until we heal. And if all y'all running around here thinking that it's cool for someone to text you back 2 days later, then you're not realizing how you're killing yourself there. Then that means if you're okay with getting a text message 2 days later, then you're going to be okay with gasoline taking a week to come into the city when the grid goes down. And if it takes a week to get gas into the city when the grid goes down, then that means there's going to be rations where you might only be able to get 5 gallons for your Hellcat. That's only going to get you 2 blocks. But right now in your emotional state, it's easier for you to see me as the enemy because what I'm saying is making you feel some type of way. Until you at the gas pump with 800 horsepower and they're charging you $45 for 2 gallons, that ain't even gonna get you an hour away. Then my words will hit you different, but it'll be too late then. And I'm tired of getting those calls 7 years after I said some shit about what we're supposed to do now because everything you said came true. And that's why I'm having this meeting. Because when I ask for $10, I need you to go get me the $10. Pasha Pavo, critical solutions expert. Thank you for tuning.